So friends, good morning to all of you to the next edition of the VDMA CEO's Thought Leadership Series. A pleasure for us to welcome Mr. P.L. Muthusekhar, Managing Director, Nord Drive Systems Private Limited. Mr. Muthusekhar is a Bachelor of Engineering in Mechanical Engineering. He's done his postgraduate in marketing and sales management. He's a Six Sigma champion. He has more than 33 years of work experience in the gear industry, working with renowned companies like Shanti Gear, Kirloskar Pneumatics, Triveni Engineering, and Bonfiglioli, and after that he joined then Nord Drive Systems. He has been awarded the Customer Leadership Award in 2014 from Frost & Sullivan. He has been also speaker at many international forums and panel discussion. He's a guest lecturer in colleges and educational institutes. He has won several awards for individual performance and organization representation. He's been an active member of VDMA and has graced our events on several occasions as esteemed panelist and speaker. So Mr. Muthusekhar, hearty welcome to you and pleasure to have you with us. Yeah. Mr. Muthusekhar, I think the last 5 to 6 months have been truly unprecedented. The impact of COVID-19, in fact, more than 25 million people globally have been infected due to COVID. And it is also called the Black Swan of 2020. The global economy is staring at a recession. The GDP drop in India is also expected to be quite significant in this financial year 2021. Mr. Muthusekhar, when we look at the impact of COVID, what we would like to understand from you is how has been the impact of COVID at Nord Drive Systems in India and also Nord Drive's your parent company in Germany. How has COVID impacted your business, Mr. Muthusekhar?
First of all, thank you very much, Mr. Rajesh Nath, for inviting me for this VDMA. It's a good learning curve. I have been watching all the videos. You have been keeping all the CEOs busy as well as the industry busy. Maybe the market is not keeping busy, but you are keeping busy.
Okay.
Thank you very much for it. And coming to the question of COVID situation, yes, it has severely impacted in India compared to our global situation. If you look at Nord globally, we have 37 subsidiaries, and India is one among the subsidiary. And if you look at the overall perspective of Nord, we are only minus by 3.8% very precisely on a year-on-year comparison, which is, I would say, a commendable situation in this market conditions in a global situation, comparing our industry and our market conditions. India has been severely affected, I would say. We are down by close to 30% as on today. And I hope we may end up somewhere around 25% by the end of this year. All these days, I used to call our industry is a recession-proof industry because we cater to almost about close to around 100 different sectors, industries we used to cater. So I always used to feel that we are never hit by recession, all that, but that all is shattered and broken. In fact, I have never seen in the last 15 years of Nord history, we have never been down by this 30% kind of level. So I think the impact in India is very severe. If I have to talk of global, Nord is doing well in China, in US, also in Germany. And these three are the top 3 markets for Nord. So since they are doing well, I think that's the reason we are only about 3-4% less than last year.
Right. And I think, Mr. Muthusekhar, since you have joined Nord has been year on year. I have been following the success story. You have been growing quite, I think, quite well year on year. So I think this may be, as you say, it may be the first time that maybe there's a slight dip that you will see. But as we all know, the circumstances have been very severe throughout India. during the COVID period, Mr. Muthusekhar.
Yeah, we are lucky. I always tell that my product is my hero. And German product doesn't need to be spoken. You know it very well. And we have a good crew. The team has been a very stable team for us.
Right.
So these are the plus points which have helped us. We will sail through this. We will pass through this phase also. I think most of the companies are already preparing for 2021. Which would be certainly better than what is today in India's situation. I think yesterday the economic GDP results of the first quarter was released. Though it might not be a good news, but we will hope for the best.
Absolutely, absolutely. Mr. Muthusekhar, before we go to the second question, I would just request you to adjust your camera. Your face is, yes. Or if you can come slightly ahead, that would be, yes. Yeah.
Is it okay now?
Yes, I think that's better. Yes, Mr. Muthusekhar. Yeah. So, Mr. Muthusekhar, the government has been pretty with the slogan of Atmanirbhar Bharat and vocal for local. Now, the aim is India plans to be self-reliant. We also to reduce the imports. However, on the other hand, there are some feelings that India is perhaps trying to self-isolate itself and close its market to imports. So what is your take on this, Mr. Muthusekhar?
Only thing is Atmanirbhar is definitely self-reliance is a must for any country, and a country has a huge demand, and there is a lot of young population, so a lot of jobs have to be created. I think Atmanirbhar is definitely a right way forward for the country and the GDP growth. But only one thing, I see that the timing is not right.
Okay.
The reason being is that normally, you cannot do this kind of things in a headwind situation.
Right.
In a tailwind situation, yes, it makes good sense. Today, if we have to become self-reliant and we have to do a lot of localization, it comes with a cost. And the market situation doesn't permit to spend more. And also, I feel that this would have been more of an emotional decision. Due to the neighboring country, we had certain issues. So probably that would be the reason for this Atmanirbhar. But in my opinion, I think the timing could be slightly different. Maybe when the market situation is good, I think have we taken this, companies would have spent in developing local components. People would not feel guilty to buy other country products or certain country which they really don't want to buy. Like, for example, today's situation in the education and even in the industry, you have to do many things on online. So people needs to be equipped with gadgets, and most of the gadgets have to come from outside. So, people will be buying this with a guilt. Maybe this is coming from this X country or this is coming from Y country. I think probably maybe again coming back, the timing is not a perfect situation. But yes, Atmanirbhar is going to help. I would even add a little few suggestions on this point. Maybe it has to be like a star rating, like electrical star rating for home appliances. We should also have a star rating for the local content. For example, if it is star rating 1, it is like 100% imported product. And if it is a star rating 2, maybe a value addition of packing, testing, or is been done from domestic. And maybe star 3, maybe a 30% kind of a value addition. It could be an assembly or a part of localization. The same thing for star 4 and star 5. Maybe star 5 could be a completely domestic product. So this will make it very clear for even the industries to migrate from one level to another level, so if they can have their own roadmap, and even people also would buy, because it all starts with Atmanirbhar, starts with the individual. My personal feeling is it cannot be forced upon. It cannot be come through a legal system, legal route. It has to be an individual decision to be self-reliant and support the Atmanirbhar.
Right. If I may add a question here, Mr. Muthusekhar, what is the level of localization at Nord Drives in India?
Currently, for certain product range, we have more than 40%.
Okay.
On an average, on a company scale, if you take, we are currently from the coming years, maybe to reach the 40%. I understand the government norm is if it is at 20%, it comes under L2. And if it is more than 40% or 50%, it comes under L1 kind of category. That is what I understand from the norms which has been set by the government.
Right.
I think we will reach that L1 kind of level, reaching up 50%. Not in all products, it's not possible.
Right.
Because predominantly, the core gears are being imported. There are some intricacy components which are coming from Germany, which we cannot do localization. And another localization, I think we need to discuss of the, intellectual property rights, patent issues.
Right.
I think like German companies, we need to, get a little more clarity from the government when we do localization, because we don't want, a lot of copies and things to come as a competition. If you look at China, there have been a lot of copies of same product available. Many countries has that, but at least India is so far protected. But we need to ensure that that is being protected also.
Right. Mr. Muthusekhar, now the SME sector plays an important role. It is the backbone of the Indian economy. How can the culture of innovation be inculcated in the SME sector? And do you see the role of government also here? Can the government support this initiative?
Absolutely, because SME is one of the low key priority for previous governments, and with this government present, I think the SME is really getting a push, and MSMEs, there have been a lot of even the definition change has happened, so that's a good start. Definitely, government can support. In my personal opinion, I think we should have an like skill development. We have a separate ministry. We should have a ministry for innovation.
Okay.
Because innovation has to be recognized. Innovation has to be awarded, like the Padma Shri or Padma Bhushan, kinds of awards which we are giving for various field.
Okay.
I think we should include. I think this is government can do this. They should include it for innovation, and innovation done in India matters a lot. Maybe a lot of Indians are doing innovation out of India, but I think doing it in India matters a lot. And your question is right. SMEs can do a better job in innovation. The reason being is the required funds are not huge for them, and there are a lot of startup companies are there. So they have to if they have to come up, they have to do some innovation. Maybe established companies would only maximizing their products and increasing their operational efficiency would be their focus.
Right.
But innovation can come really from SMEs and startup companies.
Right. And also, I think one constraint here is, Mr. Muthusekhar, that the SMEs do not have such deep pockets, so they have limited resources available. I think here perhaps a closer interaction between some of our institutes like CMTI and the industry is required, so that certain projects can be taken up by the institutes, which will in a way, or the IITs or the Indian Institute of Science, so that the SMEs could work closely here, and it would be a win-win situation for both, Mr. Muthusekhar.
Yeah, definitely. What you said is right, Mr. Nath. It needs to be more of a collaborative efforts from the colleges. In fact, we are currently doing one such collaborative effort with an engineering college, COEP. It's a very known college, age-old college from Pune, where we are trying to motorize the hospital beds. Like, for example, if a patient, especially a COVID patient, has to be moved from one ward to another ward, there is a lot of people needs to handle a COVID patient, where they have issues in terms of exposing more people, and a lot of precautionary, like PPE kits. I'm told that one single hospital, Sassoon Hospital, spends about 5 to 6 lakh rupees of PPE kits and masks per day. So
Okay.
that's a huge kind of expenses. So we thought that we would help the hospital as well as the through the college where we are trying to motorize the bed so that the bed can moved only by with the help of one person. So you no need of 3 4 people handling the patient, and also the precautions can be taken. So this kind of innovative things can definitely happen through a collaborative effort when you sign up with the college or an institution or a industry body.
Right. Right. Mr. Muthusekar, you've been involved with the educational institutes also, and not as a policy. I think you have been always very proactively looking to tie up with the educational institute. Now, certainly in India, we have a lot of, for example, engineering colleges. We have young graduates, a good number of young graduates passing out each year. But one of the concerns of the industry has been that these graduates are not fit for the job. When they pass out, they require a certain bit of training, 1 to 2 years, before they can be made fit for the job. So, what is your recommendation? And what first I would like to ask you, what is your personal experience, Mr. Muthusekar, when you interact with fresh graduates during interviews? And second question is, what would be your suggestion to the educational institutes? How can we churn out more graduates which can be directly absorbed by the industry?
Basically, I think we need to correct the curriculum. Instead of only producing graduates and only looking at the academic marks point of view, it has to be more of skill based. I think the new education policy is trying to address it. That's what
Okay.
I've not gone full deep into it, but at least basic I understand that they are trying to come with a dual system like what we have in Germany or in
That's
the other European countries. What we have, I think that's a good move where the skill development, even during like vocational courses will be there. Like
right.
if it is a 4 year engineering course, at least 3 months to 6 months, they will try to spend in an industry, so they gain an industry experience. I think today it is only a 15 days or a 1 month kind of thing, which needs to be increased, enhanced, so that they get a lot of product knowledge, and they also get when they go into industry, their communication skills improve a lot. And
Right.
what basically I see an issue is self-determination. Like for example, if you interview about 10 candidates, at least only 2 or 3. Even the results also speak. If you look at the All India results, taken survey taken every year, it projects the same thing. Only about 30 or 40% of the graduates are employable. So
Right.
this is across the spectrum, across the industries, across the curriculum. We have this situation. So if this has to be improved, I think basically we should look at our education system, and skill development and vocational trainings have to be there. It can be in different industry. It can be in banking industry. It can be in our normal engineering industry. It can be in educational institutions.
Right.
Those kind of things can be there. But I see that what are the skills lacking for when I go to colleges. I always ensure that more of an interactive program than of a lecture, because lecture must be one-sided kind of an approach. For example, students might be looking for an apple, and then I would be giving an orange. So that would not be an ideal situation. So I always ask them that what they want to aspire, or what they want, what they are looking in their career, or what kind of questions they want to understand an interviewer would be asking. So we definitely try to address this in all our college programs or in the college lectures, what Nord is doing. Though it is a small way, maybe we have done only with 13 14 engineering colleges so far. Our idea was to do it for 25 30 colleges, but today we don't have the situation of visiting the colleges. Now we
Yes.
are trying to do it online. So
Right.
with the Orissa College, and through your VDMA meet, we discussed in Assam for a college program. So
Right.
there also we will try to do an online educational program with these colleges.
Yeah.
Looking at it, I think we need more to ensure that these people are employable.
Employable, right.
And one thing in interviews, what we see is, how the curve is going upwards. Like, for example, how a student has fared in his 10th standard, in his 12th standard, in his college. If the curve is upwards, then, we look at that, yes, the person has a learning attitude and improvement attitude. So this I try to tell when I go to the colleges, we exactly look at that. So at least if you have not corrected in your, secondary school, at least, in your college, you try to, score slightly more marks, grades, so that, most of the interviewers look at it, because I was looked when I was being interviewed, 20 years ago, still it holds good. It's valid.
Right, right. And I mean, the marks is one aspect, Mr. Muthusekar. What would be the one or two other characteristics you would look in an ideal candidate if you have to recruit a candidate, a fresh graduate? Maybe two characteristics you would look at in that particular graduate, Mr. Muthusekar.
Attitude and adaptability.
Okay.
Because the attitude makes the difference, and attitude comes with self-determination. When you
Right.
have self-determination, you have a better attitude. If you have a better attitude, you get a good communication skill. So
Right.
I give importance to attitude.
Attitude.
And second is adaptability.
Okay.
Flexibility is very important. You
Right.
cannot be too choosy in when you are starting your career. You
Right.
need to be, prepared to learn. You need to be prepared to move out. You cannot stay in a cocoon. You cannot stay in a comfort zone.
Right.
So we see that this attitude and adaptability are the two key, which personally I feel very important.
Right. Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Muthusekar, we are in, as we say, in the present scenario has really impacted businesses in India, businesses globally. So we are all sailing in the stormy waters of COVID. But I think each of the boat, the captain has to drive each of his boat to safety in the stormy water of COVID. So what we would like to understand from you, Mr. Muthusekar, is two or three leadership tips what you can give to the industry as well as to the CEOs of the German companies. How can one overcome this difficult period, keep the manpower also motivated, and as well as I think we are facing, as you mentioned correctly, the GDP has shrunk dramatically. So it will be some time before the business really picks up. So what would be your two or three main takeaways, or what would be your main suggestions, Mr. Muthusekar?
Mr. Nath, your question itself had the answer. Being a captain of the ship, you should not leave the ship until you sail through and until you ensure things are all right. I think that is what right from April 7th onwards, we started our factory being an essential services. So I ensure that even on a Sunday when we were working, I used to come even for a couple of hours. The
Okay.
reason being is, yeah, we had some, urgent requirements for some pharma companies, for some tablet producing companies. Some shipments have to be made. So only we had a skeleton force of, 10% to start with. Then
Sure.
later it got migrated to 15. So that's where, a captain has to be, always present. Okay, you cannot be present all the time, but at least, you show your face, you are with them, you are motivating. I think that itself will make a big difference. So
Right.
leaders, talk of 3 points. One is basically the communication. So
Right.
communication have to be simple and has to be very clear with examples.
Right.
So this is the first and foremost area. Um, so, like for example, one thing which I can tell, I was doing a lot of communication internally. Is that during this period we should take inspiration from sunflower. If you look at sunflower, when the sun is not there or when the weather is bad, one sunflower looks at another sunflower to harness energy, or to keep them motivated. The same way we should look at positive people inside our own organization or in the family, and we should get inspired. So
Right.
this is a kind of example. Another example is, in cricket, which is, very known to all of us. We always look at the 11 opponent players, trying to, make us out, or, the 11,000 spectators, shouting at us, out. Maybe, we don't need to fear the outside world or the COVID situation or the, market conditions. There could be a, colleague of you, if he is not running properly, and if he is, running on the other side wrongly, and, if he makes you run out, I think, you need to be prepared for that also. So the communications are very important with live examples, understandable examples. So that's
Right.
what is my first, point, I would say. Second is we should use all our experiences so far, whatever we have, everybody would have definitely in a leadership position would have crossed at least about 15, 20 years of, good experience.
Right.
So we should make use of that experience, and whatever positive moments, cherishing moments, I think that we have to bring back. We should look at how we solved, the situation. Many of the leaders, current leaders, would have definitely crossed to the 2008 and 2009, global economic, down
Yes.
situation. So how we handled. So these are all the experiences will come together. Of course, COVID is completely new, and a lot of SOPs have to be followed. I don't deny that, but when it comes to running an industry, when it comes to doing a communication with the team, I think you have an hands-on experience which you have already proven.
Right.
And the third point is bring possible all the changes during this time. So this is the time we should look at whatever possible changes which we want to bring in. I again use the word possible changes because drastic changes will, jeopardize, or it will trouble, or it will, cause friction among the team. So whatever possible changes, it could be an efficiency improvement, it could be a learning curve, it could be an, operational, improvements. It could be a small investments or automation. So it is going to help the, removing the bottlenecks. So these are the three things. One is communication. Second is bringing in all the experiences, and third is to, try all the possible changes.
Yes. I think very valid points you have pointed out, Mr. Muthusekhar, as you correctly mentioned also. I think communication being, as you correctly gave that example, being with the team during this period of crisis, I think that as a leader sets very clear signals to the team that the leader is with the organization and supporting the team members. And then you also mentioned about experiences. People can use their experiences, what they have gathered during their term or during their work life, as well as other crises and possible changes. I think this is a good period also to rationalize the work, as well as look. Many people, I think, are looking at. I remember, I think you also gave once the example of training your customers. You have really utilized this period to carry out a lot of training for the customers. So I think thank you for these very good three insights, Mr. Muthusekhar. I'm sure this experience of yours would also benefit the other industry leaders. My last question to you, Mr. Muthusekhar, is when can we expect actually the Indian economy to be back on track? I think there was expectation that after the lockdown would be lifted, there would be a certain bit of rebound, which actually we have not seen to that extent, which we would have all hoped that this rebound after the lockdown. Now we have come into the unlock 4.0. My question to you, Mr. Muthusekhar, is when do you actually feel that the economy will be back on track?
If you look at on a logical point of view, still the COVID situation has not peaked in India,
Okay.
as on date.
Okay.
Maybe we are reaching about 78,000, 80,000 per day. Maybe we are reaching a peak. Once we reach the peak, then the curve comes down, then the flattening takes place. So in my opinion, it will take at least another couple of months. The worry is, it should not repeat again. That's another worry which we don't have at the moment, we don't have an answer at the moment how it will happen.
Right.
Of course, the vaccines are expected somewhere in, first quarter of next year. calendar year. Or it might come in the end of this year, but it will be available only in the first quarter during January, February of 2021. So looking at all these possibilities, I think Indian financial year from April onwards of 2021, things would really shape up well. And in my opinion, government is also not in a hurry, for various reasons. Because I think their first priority would be to ensure a smooth lockdown open, unlocking the situation, and not escalating the current COVID levels, because it's already reaching about 80,000. It's huge. I think the way it goes, we will become number 2 soon, and then number 1 is also not very far. The unfortunate situation. In my opinion, I think from April 21, we can see improvements in the market conditions.
Right. So I think till that time, the going is going to be a little rough, and for the industry, I think we will have to sustain ourselves till at least end of this financial year.
But if you look at the other countries, in fact, we can name the countries. China is doing fine. In fact, we had a record order booking last month and previous month. China subsidiary. Even US, things have been opened. Even Germany, we know how is the situation. It is not that bad. Even Europe, many countries are, on the recovery path. And the global economy is not that shrinking. Maybe our historical lockdown made the big difference. So probably we also will come through, but only it may take little more time for us.
Right. So, Mr. Muthusekhar, thank you very much for sharing your thoughts, sharing your ideas, and also the leadership tips. Pleasure speaking to you, and thank you for participating in our VDMA CEO's thought leadership, and also for supporting always been very supportive of the endeavors of VDMA. So thank you very much, Mr. Muthusekhar.
It was a pleasure talking to you, Mr. Nath, and I learned a lot. And the way you moderate sessions now, Nod also started, moderating sessions with. I have become a moderator now, including your signature item of rapid fire questions. Also, I started, using my customers. So it's a good time. Thank you very much to you and VDMA.
Right. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Muthusekhar.
Thank you.
Thank you.